affirmation that we're using this morning is, I am sizzling with the good that is to be done by me. Now, sizzling I took from Mr. Fillmore. I think it's a great word. You know, Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, a great worldwide movement, in his 93rd or 94th year wrote that very famous statement, I am sizzling with enthusiasm with the work that is yet for me to do. But he was an old man at the time, had been retired, and he sizzled until his last days. But let's join us in this affirmation 3 times we could. I am sizzling with the good that is to be done by me. I am sizzling with the good that is to be done by me. I am sizzling with the good that is to be done by me. And that's our affirmation this week. And so as you go into your personal reflections and use this affirmation and use the question we're going to share with you, what I'm inviting you to do and calling you to do is to begin to ask yourself whether you really sizzle with the good that is to be done by you. Because you and I are full of good. We really are. And you know what? So is everybody else. Everybody's full of good. And it is our ability to see that good, to reflect that good, and to call that good into our lives that's so important. In New Thought, we used to use that word good a lot. You know, look for your good. Good was used in different ways. There are 2 words that were used differently in New Thought. The 2 words were good and right. And we used to say people should be right with each other. People should do the right thing. And so it was that we would look for good and we would do good, but good was not something that we were to do necessarily. It was a tangible item. It was a thing that was within us and everywhere. So let's look at the question. What good have I done in the world today? And that's actually the title of a hymn. And actually the title of this little Sunday school hymn is, What Good Have I Done? But the longer version is, What good have I done in the world today? You know, so we think so often that we have to do great and magnificent things to do any good, that we have to do something monumental to do good. And yet every day in 1,000 little ways, we have an opportunity to do good. We have an opportunity to do things for people. We have an opportunity to do things for ourselves. We have an opportunity to express it. And you know, in the life and teachings of Jesus himself, he was constantly doing good. He was constantly doing good. He was constantly expressing good. He was constantly showing those around him how they could claim their good. And so in practical spirituality, we say we want to claim our good, but we want to send out and give our good. And what do we know about New Thought and practical spirituality is that which we send out comes back, right? What we send out comes back. And so it is this constant ebb and flow, just like thoughts in mind create after their kind. But thoughts go out and thoughts come back. Vibration goes out and comes back. Love goes out and comes back. Healing goes out and comes back. Prosperity goes out and comes back. You know, you hold on to your money and you don't share it or spend it. What happens? You just keep collecting it. And so you may have some, you may not have some, but what do we know about prosperity? And prosperity is not only the ideas that we have about money. Prosperity has to do with the way that we think. And if we only think about it as money, but prosperous thoughts about good, prosperous thoughts about health, prosperous thoughts about joy, prosperous thoughts, that reality. And so, what good have I done in the world today? What a simple thing that is. What good have I done in the world today? Every one of us got up this morning, and most of us got out of a bed. So we had a bed to be thankful for. Most of us had something to eat this morning, so we had that. Most of us had a choice about what we ate. We had a choice about the food. We had a choice about the clothes that we wore. Probably opened the closet and said, oh my gosh, I have nothing to wear. And, you know, our lives are that way. And so it is with good, because we open the closet of our life and the closet of our mind and the closet of our heart, and there is packed with good that we can do. And the good that we can do comes with our way of thinking, it comes with our way of speaking, it comes with the things that we cultivate within our very nature and our being. So often we become people who don't see good anymore. We don't do good anymore because it becomes too difficult, too oppressive, too weighty, and life becomes so burdened that we have no joy anymore in it. And that good is everywhere And all, like we say in New Thought so often, substance, this idea. And if you can grab hold of that idea of substance, which is what the founders wanted us to understand as the presence and power of God, that it is substance, and that substance is all of this out here that we can't see. And there in that infinite, limitless supply is an infinite, limitless supply of good. And it isn't the great things that we do. Some of us are called to do great things. It is the least things that we do that are able to improve our lives and the lives of others. It is we who are called by the very presence of who created us, that creative power within us, called us and imbued us with the resources that are so limitless and magnificent that we can't even conceive them, and yet we bury them, we forget them, and we leave them alone. In reality, they're there, and they're here, and they're everywhere. There's a limitless supply. What good have I done in the world today? We could have started by the first thought that we had and thought about somebody or something that maybe needed a positive thought. What do we know about thought? It goes out, and it does wonderful, magnificent things. And so we begin with good thought. We begin with good thoughts. Then we begin by looking at the world as good. And we begin by looking at people as good. We begin by looking at our jobs and our cars and our houses and everything about us is good. And there's negativity in all of these things, but the reality is that as we focus on the truth, then the truth comes out in our lives. And we see a lot of falsehood. And Mary Baker Eddy taught us that, the founders of Christian Science, he said, we need to see beyond appearance. We've got to see beyond appearance. We've got to see the good in everything. We've got to see the truth in everything. And we've got to see beyond the appearances. And so when we see things in life that aren't good, we need to see beyond it and claim the reality of its good in the midst of it. And then what can we do? Well, we can do a lot of things, but the very fundamental things. Hattie Garlish, who is the co-founders of this fellowship, used to tell us all, we make it too complicated. We make it too complicated. We need to get the basic simple facts, and get them out into our spiritual lives. We need to get ourselves into that relationship with the presence and power of God that helps us understand that God is always here and always present. And we do those things by beginning to change the way that we think about people, the world, and everything. And we need to think good. Do good, think good, be good. Or better yet, think good, be good, and do good. Because when we realize how good we are and how much limitless potential we have for good, we're able to share with others and we're able to see it in others. That substance, that this invisible substance is filled with good, and it's here for us to just reach up and grab anytime we want. And we don't even have to reach up and grab it because it's within us and we're filled with good. We're bubbling over, we're sizzling. We're sizzling with good. And if we would just get the enthusiasm, then we would sizzle with the good that is to be done by me. What happens if you hit the floor every day when you get out of bed and the first thing you think is, I am sizzling with the good that is to be done by me? What if you look at your job and look at your neighbors and look at your work, look at what you have to do? Magnificent things have happened. Brother Lawrence, in his wonderful writings, that Carmelite monk in the Middle Ages who talked about seeing the presence of God, seeing the good in washing the dishes, peeling the potatoes, because that's what his life was. He washed dishes and peeled potatoes all his life, but he did it with good and with grace and with strength because he saw the presence and power of God. The good news is that good is limitless, that good is present everywhere, that good resides within you, that good is all around us, that good is within every circumstance and situation, and nothing can suppress the good in your life and in this world except you. Because it's springing forth, it's sizzling forth, it's trying to come out, it's working its best to get out so that you can say the word and do the deed that is going to be the word and the deed that God would have you say to your neighbor and to your friend and to the world and to yourself. This week, ask yourself, are you sizzling with the good? And what good have I done in the world today? And if you haven't done any today, then there's always tomorrow.